Bianca Belair shares emotional message after being confronted on Raw. Bianca Belair sent an emotional message following her confrontation last night on WWE RAW. The EST won the Women's Elimination Chamber match to earn a title shot at WWE WrestleMania 41. Jade Cargill was ambushed back in November during an episode of SmackDown. She was found unconscious in the parking lot. This forced her to miss out on the 2024 Women's WarGames match and the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble match. The storm made her emphatic return at the Elimination Chamber, Toronto Premium Live event. She brutally attacked Naomi, taking her out of the match. On Instagram, the latter shared a reel featuring her husband, Jimmy USO. The reel caught Jordan's attention, who took note of Naomi's neck brace and complimented her. Jordan teamed up with Cargill and Belair in October 2024 for a victory over the Fatal Influence in a 6-woman tag team match. Bianca Belair opened up about Naomi's revelation regarding Jade Cargill on WWE SmackDown. On the latest edition of WWE SmackDown, Naomi confessed that she had attacked Jade Cargill back in November. Bianca Belair walked out on her former tag team partner after an emotional exchange between them. Speaking on ESPN's First Take, the EST opened up about the whole situation and claimed that it was difficult to deal with Naomi's betrayal. She said, "It's really rough. This is actually my very first time talking about it since it happened Friday. You know, I formed a bond with both of these women. Jade and I elevated the women's tag team division. She was taken out. Naomi stepped in so that all that hard work wouldn't go to waste, and we bonded, but come to find out that Naomi was the one that was behind taking Jade out. So it's very heartbreaking for me. I'm actually more hurt than anything." Belair is set to challenge Io Sky for the WWE Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 41. Bianca Belair shares heartbreaking message after ending her friendship with Naomi. Bianca Belair shared a heartbreaking message on social media today after ending her friendship with Naomi this past Friday night on WWE SmackDown. The EST won the Women's Elimination Chamber last weekend and earned a title shot at WrestleMania 41. Jade Cargill returned from her hiatus at Elimination Chamber 2025 to get revenge on Naomi for the heinous attack last November. Cargill attacked the 37-year-old at the PLE last Saturday and took her out of the Women's Chamber match. Belair was distraught during the attack as she watched from her pod, but was able to regroup and win the 6-woman bout. The veteran took to her Instagram story today to share fan art of herself crying with a reflection of Naomi and Cargill in her sunglasses. She added a heartbreak emoji, which you can check out in the image below. This past Friday on SmackDown, during a conversation with Bianca Belair, Naomi finally admitted that she was responsible for the attack on the Storm late last year. The 35-year-old ended her friendship with a glow, and Jade Cargill came out once again to beat up the former SmackDown Women's Champion, following the emotional promo between the former women's tag team champions. Ex-WWE writer reacts to Bianca Belair's promo on SmackDown. Former head writer for WWE and wrestling legend Vince Russo was not a fan of the promo between Naomi and Bianca Belair this past Friday night on SmackDown. Speaking on this week's episode of Sportskeeda Wrestling's Brodown, Russo claimed that the beginning of the promo between the former women's tag team champions on SmackDown was very weak. He compared the segment to a high school play, but noted that it got better once the stars got emotional. They were definitely real tears, and I noticed the real tears. I felt the early on stages in this promo were very, very bad high school play-ish. The very beginning of it. Once it got to the emotion, I think it got a lot better. The very beginning of it was very weak, said Russo. Belair will be challenging for the Women's World Championship next month at WWE WrestleMania 41. Io Sky defeated Rhea Ripley to win the title last week on Raw. Bianca Belair discusses rise in popularity of WWE women's wrestling while still a largely male-dominated industry. Women in professional wrestling have made several historical strides in recent years. Once viewed as a sideshow to the main event, women's wrestling in WWE has since established itself as must-see television. During an appearance Monday on ESPN's First Take, WWE star Bianca Belair assessed the current state of WWE's women's division, which she believes is in peak form. Despite the growth and popularity of the WWE Women's Division, Belair doesn't believe female superstars had to reinvent the wheel to generate fan interest. Instead, the three-time Women's Champion stated that the division is maximizing the opportunities afforded them. "People have asked so many times, what more do women need to do?" she continued. "We don't need to do any." Bianca Belair reacts with a one-word message after incident with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Bianca Belair has reacted to the turn of events on this week's WWE RAW. She was involved in a confrontation with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, where the reigning Women's World Champion slapped both women. Sky won the Women's World Championship in the main event of last week's Monday Night Raw. She dethroned Ripley after the Eradicator got into a heated exchange with Belair, who was at ringside for the match. Belair became the #1 contender for the Women's World Championship after winning the Women's Elimination Chamber match. That on X/Twitter, Bianca Belair sent a one-word message after the exchange between herself, Ripley, and Sky. Belair is also involved in the Naomi Jade Cargill drama. The Storm was ambushed by a mystery attacker last November, forcing her out of action for several months. In her absence, Belair teamed up with Naomi to defend the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships before losing them to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Fast forward to the Elimination Chamber, Toronto Premium Live event, where Cargill returned and attacked Naomi. This past Friday, on SmackDown, Naomi admitted that she was the mastermind behind Cargill's attack before the latter once again laid out the now former Women's Tag Team Champion. Fast forward to the Elimination Chamber, Toronto Premium Live event, where Cargill returned and attacked Naomi. This past Friday on SmackDown, Naomi admitted that she was the mastermind behind Cargill's attack before the latter once again laid out the now former Women's Tag Team Champion. Bianca Belair's first comment on issues between Jade Cargill and Naomi. "It's really rough when last we saw Bianca Belair on Friday SmackDown. She walking away as Jade Cargill headed to the ring to kick Naomi's ass for the second time in less than a week. That was because Naomi confessed to attacking Cargill last November and then called Belair out of her name when the EST wasn't grateful she'd done so." Belair, who is set to face WWE Women's World Champion Io Sky at WrestleMania 41, was asked about breaking up the Big Three and what's next for her and Cargill on ESPN's First Take today, March 10th. She replied, "It's really rough. This is actually my very first time talking about it since it happened on Friday. I form a bond with both of these women. Jade and I elevated the women's tag team division. She was taken out. Naomi stepped in so that all that hard work wouldn't go to waste. And we bonded, but come to find out Naomi was the one behind taking Jade out. It's very heartbreaking for me. I'm actually more hurt than anything. And it's really tough because I just won Elimination Chamber, and I'm supposed to be going to WrestleMania and having a big title match. But it's really hard to focus on that. So it's kind of bittersweet for me. I'm trying to be excited about this Elimination Chamber win, but I'm also hurt by the breakdown of the Big Three because we were doing amazing things and really representing. So it's just a really heartbreaking time for me right now." Interesting to note that for at least half of her appearance on First Take, Belair was not in character. She was for that first question, though, even as WWE may be blurring the work/shoot lines around Cargill after reports of Jade having behind-the-scenes issues with other members of the women's roster last week. Another thing Bianca does during the interview